What's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to another video. It's been a crazy couple days. The pond is done. As you could probably hear from the waterfall in the background, the pond is done. And I just want to say, guys, you may want to watch this video. You may want to watch the next one because it's going to be absolutely insane. It's been a crazy couple days, and I'm so excited that I get to share the entire journey and the entire process with you guys. So with all that being said, I hope you enjoy this video, and let's jump right in. All right, guys, we have the spillway finally came in, and now it's time to put it to good use. So what I want to do is I want to put it up here, and what I want to do specifically is I want to keep it inside the liner because I don't want there to be any leaks, and I also want it to be level. So I'm gonna have to stick it up here, and we're gonna have to get some dirt and backfill it so it sits flat and so the water comes off in a clean, even sheet. It's also important because where I place this is where I'm gonna have to conceal it and where I'll have to almost direct the waterfall. So it's important that I put it in a good spot. That way, once this is in place, we can construct the rest of the waterfall up and around this. And then we can construct the rest of the pond. So without further ado, let's get started putting this in place. The spillway has to lean a little bit forward so the water doesn't go this way. It needs to go away from the house and into the pond. So leaning it a little bit forward is not the worst thing that could happen. In this pond, the spillway is not in the ground, it is on top of the liner. You can see other ponds where they have in the ground and the liner is wrapped around. That's okay, but that's not what we're doing in this situation. I think we should be fine as the spillway is tilted so much forward that there's no way the water is going to climb back up around and leak out the back. I'm not necessarily recommending this way. This is going to work well, I think, for this specific scenario. We're going to get the rest of the rocks and build up alongside the spillway so that it's secure. I have some news for you guys before we build the waterfall. We got some actually really nice rocks. Now, I think these rocks are granite. They're round, they're big, they're boulders. We got several of them. We can get more if we need to. I'm going to deconstruct a little bit of this pond. I don't think it looks bad now, but I think it could look a lot better. As you can see, I have a lot of small rocks lining around, and I think it'll look more natural. A water feature typically does look more natural when you have a mixture of bigger rocks and smaller rocks. And since we have those rocks, we're gonna use them. As you guys can see, we have some of the frame rocks in place around the spillway. Now it's time to get some of the flat rocks and some of the other boulders so that we can layer them around the spillway and complete this waterfall. Guys, I'm super excited, so without further ado, let's get rolling. So far, guys, I'm liking how the waterfall is looking, but before I do any more on that, I got some new rocks right here, and we're gonna put them into the pond. You can see we gotta fill up that deep spot, but I also kind of want to redo the outside. I don't really like exactly how this is looking. So we're gonna put some of those newer rocks in, the boulders. We're gonna take these rocks right here and we're gonna make this pond look absolutely insane. Let's get it. As you guys can see, I have the boulders layering around the outside. And now we have to go down to the middle and fill that up with rocks up until the shelf. But this is the rough draft so far. I've been just changing things around and around just to see what fits the best, and that's okay. That's what's gonna happen if you decide to do your own pond. It's just like a puzzle. You just gotta do what fits best. And for now, this is what I got, but you never know, it might change later. As you guys can see, I put the boulders from the shelf all the way up to land, and now I gotta go down deep into the pond and build that up to the second shelf. And I'll use more rocks for that. And then we'll go around and just make sure everything looks great. For building down here, we're gonna use some of the longer, skinnier rocks, something like this, because we don't want to take up all the space down here because it's pretty deep, but it doesn't have a very, it's not very wide. So we gotta go high, but we don't wanna go wide because we wanna save room for the fish and the pump. Guys, I want to take a brief moment to explain something. So if you decide to build your own pond, you want to make sure the water goes into the pond and not into your house. So one thing that I'm going to do to ensure that that happens is I'm going to lift up the liner and I'm going to push dirt under it, like at the top here. That way, if there is, for some reason, the water leaks down like this, it's not going to go back. It's going to go around. It's going to get into the pond no matter what. I dug this up. I filled the side of the liner in, and I'll probably continue to do that around the entirety of the pond. Guys, I'm pretty stoked with how it's looking so far. As you can see, we got the waterfall done mostly. We got the inside of the pond done mostly. We got the shelf built up mostly. We need to add the river rock. We need to add the details. We need to add the pump. And then in the next video, we'll be adding landscaping and all of that. After we put the pump in, we'll run the tubing up towards the spillway and we'll run it and see what happens. And then we'll have to take some waterfall foam and we'll have to spray it so we can direct the water where we want it to go. And so we can make the sound and the flow that we want. But like I said, it's now time to add the river rock. Guys, as you can see, we have the river rock on the shelf. I try to fill all the crevices and I'm still working on it. But now we have a little bit extra. I want to go around to the waterfall and I want to fill in those crevices as well, just to cover up any black liner that you could possibly see from any angle. And then also add some more to the waterfall. And then I think it'll be done for the river rock. As I was putting some of the river rocks onto the waterfall, I realized that I need to wait on the waterfall for a moment because I gotta spray that foam. That waterfall foam that allows, like I mentioned before, allows the water to flow over the rocks. We need to wait until we put the foam in, and then when the foam is in, we could put the river rocks over the top, and that will allow us to camouflage any of the black foam that would appear. So I'm gonna wait. I put a little bit, but I decided I'd wait a little bit, and we're gonna finish putting the river rock on the edges around the pond, just to clean that edge up. Guys, we are getting close. We are getting close. Believe it or not, it is already time to work on the pump. So what we need to do is we need to fill up the pond enough so that the pump can pump out water to the waterfall. And then we check out how the waterfall actually works. We find where the water could go in a better place. And then that's when we add the waterfall foam. So guys, what we have here is a Tetra, I think 1000 pump. It's got its cord, obviously. We have some 1-inch tubing right here, and then I have a hose clamp that we may or may not use depending on how well this thing holds water. And obviously we have the spillway out there, which we're gonna be using to connect the hose to the spillway from the pump. Here we are, guys. We have everything out. Nothing is concealed yet because, like I mentioned before, this is just the practice run. And we're gonna see how the waterfall is, where the foam is gonna need to go. Okay guys, so right now I'm using Great Stuff Pond & Stone waterfall foam. And so what we're doing here is we're putting this foam down in these cracks. You can see we have these cracks, so when the water runs off of here, it's gonna fall down, but instead of going over this rock like I want it to, it's gonna go right down under it. And so what this foam is gonna do is it's gonna keep the water from penetrating that, and the water's instead going to go flow over the top of the rock like we want it to. When it's cured just a little bit, what we can do to conceal it is we can put some pebbles over the top just so you don't see any of this foam. It's almost like what you would do to cover your liner. You would put rocks over the top, and that way you won't even know it's there at all. All right, so now that the foam has dried for like 20 or so minutes, we can start putting some of the rocks back in place. So obviously we don't want to see any of this. So I'm gonna try to put the rocks back in the way I had them previously, and that way it'll look natural and clean. Whatever we can't hide with the rocks that I put in here, we can hide with river rock, this stuff right here. So if there's a crack or something like that, I can stick it in there and I can hide it. Or press it into the foam. You could also use rock dust or sand to sprinkle on the foam, and that'll help conceal it completely. That will wrap up part 2 of our pond building series. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought. And with all that being said, guys, I will catch you all in the next video. See ya.